Hi everyone, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be showing you Overstocked, which is a new card game that is on Kickstarter right now. You can click the link in the corner of the screen. There it is, found the corner, or in the description, and it will take you to the campaign page. This is just a prototype, and the design of the cards has already changed. The art style is the same. Here's an example of what one of the cards might look like, but the best representation of the final stuff is going to be on the Kickstarter page. But with the prototype, and give you an idea of how to play. So Overstocked takes us back to the 90s and the various toy crazes that were going on back then. We have yo-yos, not wishing to get anyone in trouble, electronic pets that talk to you, and bears involving hearts. What could they be? So we have a deck of cards that we shuffle up all nice. We draw a card that represents popularity. This is, the mood of the public and what they want the most. At the moment, they're split between three of the things and don't really care at all about let's say Furbies. Yeah, there's the popularity card there. We each have a card representing our warehouses, the stock of toys that we have, and we also have 6 cards. There's going to be 6 rounds of the game. You'll play all of your cards in it. So in a round, each player is going to select one of their cards, and there is a number on each of the cards as well as the icons. Whoever plays the lowest number is going to go first, and you will play your card either to your warehouse or the popularity. So I might think, the Tamagotchis, they're really popular, but I haven't got any. I don't want those to be so popular, so I might think I'd like to change. I'd like to change how popular things are. I'm going to get out, let's say, the Furbies. I could keep things as popular as they are, but I'm gonna choose this card here. So we put my card face down, and at the same time, Marty over here, there he wandered off, is gonna be picking his card, and he's kind of split between 3 things as well. But he might be thinking, wow, he can get loads of the Furbies in. He can't really get a lot of Furbies out in the warehouse though, so that's probably not a great idea. He can get loads of the Care Bears and the yo-yo, so maybe he'd want to play this to his warehouse. So we'd pick our cards and we'd flip them over, look at the numbers on them. So Marty's played the 8, he's going to get to go first, and he decides, does he want to play the card to the warehouse or the popularity? Now, when you place these cards, you need to place them over existing cards, covering up 1 or 2 spaces on them. So this is okay, this is okay, this is not okay. Just 1 or 2 spaces, and you can't cover up any workers because, health and safety rules against that. So Marty might want to want to really go for Care Bears here. Then it would be my turn, and I want to mess about with the popularity of things in the warehouse here. We don't particularly care about, we can just keep the popularity of everything the same here and just add in some Furby love there. And we could keep going. Now that I've done that, I probably want to try and get out a load of Furbies into my warehouse, so I would pick that. And Marty, maybe he would want to try and make the Care Bears a little more popular as well. Or he could try and mess with me a bit, because we would flip them around. And Marty would actually go first here, 2 versus 7. What Marty could do, he doesn't care about Furbies whatsoever. He could make Furbies incredibly popular here. And you might think, what's he thinking of doing that? The way these things score is, you take the largest area of a toy and your largest area of a toy, so between the popularity and the warehouse, and multiply them together. So you might think, there's now 6 Furbies in here. I've only got 2 in here, but that's still 12 points at the end of the game. Well, there's a risk involved there because the most popular toy has, oversaturated the market and people aren't bothered about it anymore. And so your boss is going to be furious that you've stocked up on this thing that the kids of the 90s are over now. And you are going to get negative points for the most popular toy. So suddenly, I'm looking at minus 12 points on my board. So do I now want to carry on making the Furby section bigger, or do I want to just completely pivot over to maybe Tamagotchis? I've still got this big area of Furbies, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything about that with these workers being everywhere. That's actually a really good play by Marty there, but hopefully I can cover up more of these Furbies or keep extending my Tamagotchi zone up. Because, in the cards that I've got left here, what could I do, really? They've all got Furbies on them, and I don't want more Furbies to come out. I could, of course, just play something like this that just keeps making my Tamagotchi area a bit bigger. I could think about... Yeah, it's very awkward with the way the worker is there to cover anything up. I could think, Marty's so bothered about yo-yos, I could make Tamagotchis more popular if I put this one out, so I could play that. And Marty would maybe be thinking of making Care Bears more popular is a bit difficult. He could, Marty's got very kind of separate cards. Tamagotchis, he might want to get in on a little bit here, or maybe he'd want to link up his yo-yo things. He can't really do that, though. He hasn't got 2 in a row here. He could think about getting an area, though, of Tamagotchis in some way. Put these out. And when we reveal, I would be first, I could say, well, yo-yos don't score anything anymore. And so now Marty, does he want to keep going with yo-yos? Or does he want to try and reverse what I've done? But he could just get into Tamagotchis instead. And you see, as this kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the state of the whole thing can alter quite a bit. Because Tamagotchis are now very popular. It's 4 multiplied by your biggest area in your zone. And it isn't the biggest because Furbies are kind of undeniably the biggest, unless, I could start making the Tamagotchis too popular. Actually, I don't know if I could make it 1 bigger, but that's not enough, is it? The workers are very good at kind of blocking your options. So I definitely don't want more Furbies. Maybe I would want to put this out here. So as not to score me more negative points. But I would like to cover up the Furbies with something. I could do this, because although I'm still keeping the same number of Furbies out, they're now split up, and so my biggest area is only 2 instead of 3 now. So I could think about doing that. And Marty, yo-yos aren't really worth much anymore. Does he want to try and make Care Bears worth more? He could try and make the Care Bears worth a bit more and the Tamagotchis worth a bit less by placing something like that, although that would be over a worker. Oh, the worker's really messing things up. Oh, he's got a triple Tamagotchi, though. What if he tried to get that out, like there? Yeah, he'd play that. And then we'd reveal, and Marty could put out his 12 here, and mine was going to go and cover up some Furbies, wasn't it? It's still, a big area. And then with my last cards, they're not particularly great for doing anything. I don't really want to make Furbies bigger and make me lose more points. I could think about playing that one. And what would Marty be doing? He could try and make Tamagotchis a little bit bigger, because they are the biggest point getter. And he's only got, 1 Furby alone on its own. I could think about here playing this out here just to... It doesn't make Furbies any bigger just yet, but just to mess up one of the Care Bears, and I could try and do it over here as well, so you only get 1 point for each heart space. And now Marty could be thinking, what if could he make Furbies any bigger? He could make Furbies 1 bigger like this. Could he make... If he makes Tamagotchis worth more, that's not a great thing, is it, for him? He could, make the hearts... Well, actually, we'll make this heart section 1 bigger. But it's at the cost of making Tamagotchis smaller, which he is interested in as well. So, actually, that's not the card he's playing, is it? This is the card he's playing. So he could... he can't actually make Love Hearts bigger that way. But if he knows that that's his plan, he could place this maybe here, knowing that that's going to be coming out. And then for our last turn, we've got no choice in our cards. Marty would go first and decide, Love Hearts are getting bigger at the cost of Tamagotchis. And then what do I want to do? Suddenly I've only got an area of... I could try and make the Furbies smaller, because that basically earns me 6 points. It stops me getting another negative 6 points. But actually, a better move might be... that still keeps Love Hearts the same, but does add 1 back to my Tamagotchi. But hasn't Marty got the same? He's got the same Tamagotchis, hasn't he? Yeah, I could lose a Furby and gain a Tamagotchi. So I could do that. That could be the final thing. And so when it comes to the end, we can look Furbies, the ultimate champion of negative points. And so let's see, Tamagotchis. Biggest area in the popularity is 3. Biggest area in my warehouse is 6, so that's going to be 3 times 6, 18 points. Marty, similarly, has 3 times 5, so gets 15 still. Then yo-yos, biggest area is just 1, so it's a point each for your biggest area, so that's going to be 2 points for me for yo-yos. Marty, 2 points as well. The Furbies, negative points. Marty's just got an area of 1 Furby. So far, I've managed to cut that right down as well. And then for the Care Bears, it's 3 times 2 for me, so only 6 points. This is going to be the clincher for Marty, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. 6 times 3 is another 18. So altogether, that would be, what would that be? So they cancel each other out. So that would be 20 for me. Marty gets 17, 11, 29. So fairly close there. But yeah, just by sensing the way that the wind was blowing and avoiding those Furbies, and didn't he do that on the first turn and mess me about there? But there we go. That is Overstocked. Just an example of how a game might go. Remember, it's all prototype pieces. All can be seen on the Kickstarter page. So what do I think? We're going to just do first impressions right here. Now, in terms of theme, absolutely, I'm completely on board with this. 90s toy crazes, at least 3 of them, yo-yos, Furbies, and Tamagotchis, absolutely. Tamagotchis are probably the biggest example sticking in my mind of parents saying, it's really expensive and silly and you'll get it and not want it as soon as you've got it. You only want it because we're saying you can't have it. Protesting and protesting until you got one, and then as soon as I got the Tamagotchi, after about an hour or so, it's kind of like, well, yeah, I don't really want this anymore. Anyway, that's besides the point. So theme, great. The gameplay is really clever. So I've played Honshu. I did a playthrough for that ages ago, didn't I? There are other games where they have this beautiful puzzle of trying to overlay cards with a lot of restrictions, and here you can surprise yourself with how much you've restricted yourself. Or that simple play by Marty just completely locked in those Furbies as being the popular thing because they were right in the middle. So there's no real overwriting because you can only cover up 1 or 2 spaces and you can't cover up workers. If that had been an intentional move, amazing. So it's this puzzle that can really lock you in, and it's a really fluid puzzle as well because it's not, hi Marty, because it's not just what you're doing. You've not got this set scoring that you are looking for. All of the players can mess with this scoring, improving it for themselves or trying to make it worse for other players. And so there can be vast changes from round to round, and it's such a quick thing. Especially I've only played it at 2 players. That's what I play. But yeah, such a fast game over just in 6 turns. I will say though that for our purely personal tastes, which I've gone on about in so many videos, we don't really like messing with each other or negative interaction. And with the structure of the game, it's inevitable. It's not some great big thing where I'm not stealing from you, but I can completely destroy what you've done. Although it's a kind of lesson not to go so heavily into one thing because the tide could turn and it can be a massive penalty for you at the end of the game to kind of hedge your bets until you see the way that things lie. But it is definitely a game where often your best option will be to make a move that really negatively impacts your opponent. And that's, of course, going to be spread across more in a game with more players. Often it's more focused when it only happens with 2. But I imagine for the vast majority that are watching, that's not only not going to be a problem, it's going to be a positive. Hopefully, from what I've shown you, you can decide for yourself, but it's an incredibly clever and cute game. Remember, the Kickstarter page is linked in the description. I don't think I can link it up there again. Thank you very much for watching this. If you'd like to see more, there's nearly 400 games that are featured on this channel, most often through full playthroughs. Hopefully you can find more that you'd be interested in. For now though, bye everyone, and I'll see you for the next game.